Hey guys, what's happening? So we're back continuing our coverage on Philip K. Johnson's Hulk series, where at this point, with things calming down and getting back to somewhat of a normal pace, we continue with the Hulk taking over, with Bruce still managing to hold on. Somewhat. And so with that said, if you're enjoying these videos, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications. Alright, so coming back, we pick up after the crazy encounter between Hulk and Varkolok. And the first thing we see is this couple riding down the highway, top down, music loud, not a care in the world. And the girl here, she's just on her phone with a ton of star stickers on the back, but just above them we see a silhouette of a wolf creature with wings, just before it locks in on them and takes their car off the road. And they're hit really hard, cause the car goes rolling into a tree, it bursts into flames, and the dude that was driving, he died immediately. But the girl that was with him, she managed to survive, only to look to the side and see these huge teeth of the creature that attacked them. But just before we see what happens next, we jump over to Charlie, who's been woken up by the Hulk, who's snoring crazy loud right now. Because just as a reminder, from the start of this series, the Hulk's been talking about taking over and locking Bruce away indefinitely. And we've seen this happening off and on for the first 20 plus issues, and that's what we've come back to now, with the Hulk taking full control and Charlie basically following him everywhere. And we'll talk about how the situation with Charlie has complicated things between Bruce and the Hulk in a little bit. But in the here and now, as Charlie's watching the Hulk snore, she coughs up this little star sticker, only to shortly after hear a phone going off in the bathroom. So Charlie gets up to go check it out. And when she opens the door, it's here where she sees that the nightmare she had, it was actually a memory of her most recent victim. So after discovering this revelation, Charlie panics and she slams the door shut, which wakes up the Hulk. So she just lies and tells them that the toilet's busted and that they need to get out of there. Because after their whole encounter with Varkolok, they've basically gone back to wandering the country, with them now heading east again. So along the way, they'll just take like an abandoned cabin or whatever to stay the night. But after they leave, it's here where Bruce starts speaking to the Hulk from the Hulkscape. And he tells the Hulk something's wrong. Charlie's changing. She's being changed. You took an innocent kid and broke her, like us. And there are some strange things going on with Bruce here that we'll talk more about in a little bit. But in the here and now, what he's referring to is the fact that since Charlie has followed the Hulk, she's basically been sucked into this insanely grim fate, which more or less started out when Charlie was killed by the frozen Charlotte, only to later be brought back to life by the eldest, which shortly after led to her putting on the godskin of Lycana, out of fear and desperation, which is what's given Charlie the ability to turn into the winged wolf creature ever since. And Charlie doesn't want to let go of this power anytime soon. She's always felt weak and afraid before, so now that she has this power, she doesn't want to let it go. But the problem is, Lycana's evil, and she demands blood. And it wasn't until recently where the Hulk found out from Varkolok that whoever wears the godskin of Lycana, when they die, they'll have to spend eternity in Varkolok's hell. And that's weighing heavy on the Hulk's conscience. So when he sees this talking tree sounding like Bruce and reminding him of all this, he just punches the tree and tells it to shut up, which for a moment has Charlie confused because she doesn't know why the Hulk just did this. But also, she doesn't know what Varkolok said about her fate. So she's not nearly as worried as the Hulk is about what will eventually happen to her. But she's at least able to put together that whatever pissed the Hulk off just now, it had something to do with Bruce. So she starts asking questions like, where is Bruce? Is he locked up in your brain? And that's when she's like, I'm sure you didn't like it when he did that to you. And that's when Hulk's just like, shut up. Don't talk about Banner. There's no Banner. Only Hulk. But as they continue on their way, we see here that they're being followed. So following this, when they make their next stop, there's a moment here where Charlie's trying to talk to the Hulk, but the only thing he can think about is what Varkolok said about Charlie eventually ending up in his hell. And with Charlie just trying to talk to the Hulk, after a while she offers to get him some food if he's hungry, only for the Hulk to tell her no. So after that, she just takes off to find something for herself to eat. And keep in mind, with her having the godskin of Lycana, she doesn't have to fully transform to use super strength or super speed, because she always has a portion of that strength and speed in her natural state. And it's basically the same when it comes to feeding, because whenever she wants, she can just transform a portion of herself to get the job done. But what this leads to is Charlie going off on her own, finding a snake and eating it. But while she's here, it's not long before she's confronted by Banner, who appears to her by way of his face just showing up in the water. And right away, that's Charlie asking, like, how am I able to see you right now? And he explains this to her by saying that she's able to see him because she's a monster now, which means now she can see a part of the world that normal people can't see. And on the surface, this checks out, especially when it comes to Banner finding a way to do this, because I referenced a number of times what we saw back in Civil War II, where after Bruce's death, his attorney, Matt Murdock, because who else? But this led to Murdoch playing a recording of Bruce's will, where Bruce left a message for Tony Stark, Korg, Scar, Rick, Betty, and a handful of others. And at the time when this came around to Doctor Strange, Bruce told him, "We were so busy taking on Dormammu and Umar and Nightmare together that I don't think I ever told you the Hulk could see ghosts, or at least things that said they were ghosts. I never figured out a scientific explanation for it, but I hereby bequeath to you all the data I ever collected on the phenomenon," which back then was one of the earlier hints towards the Hulk having this supernatural ability, which we saw explored a bit more during Immortal Hulk. But on top of that, when it comes to Charlie, we also learned from the Werewolf by Night just recently that she's been giving off a gamma trail, so that possibly could have something to do with this here too, but we're not given a definitive answer just yet. But nonetheless, when Bruce shows up here, Charlie has questions, cause she's like, "Aren't you in the Hulkscape? Does it hurt there? Are you in pain?" But he just tells her that doesn't matter anymore. And this is where Charlie admits that she knows she messed up, cause she tells Bruce that she thinks she might have killed somebody. And that's when he tells her, "This is how it happens, Charlie. The thing inside you is taking control. We have to get Lycana out of you and make you human again." Which of course, as we know, that's not what Charlie's trying to hear. So she basically tells Bruce that she doesn't want to go back to being human or weak, and that she'll figure out how to control it. But the truth is, Charlie's in way over her head. She's not going to control this thing by itself. So with Bruce realizing that Charlie's not going to willingly let Lycana go, he tells her to head to New York and find Doctor Strange, so maybe he could teach her how to control Lycana. And at first Charlie's like, the Hulk's not going to go for that. So Bruce tells her not to tell the Hulk, just lead him there off of some pretense. And as she leaves, he tells her, "Lycana has killed people now, Charlie. If you don't get control of her, she'll kill you too. Go to New York and find Doctor Strange." And really, when it comes to harnessing a power that nobody should be messing with, Doctor Strange is your guy, cause the man has plenty of experience in that area. So the next day, Charlie tells Hulk that they should head up to the mountains in upstate New York, and how she heard it's nice up there, there's rivers, mountains, trees, and how it would allow them to stay away from the city. And to take it a step further, she tells them like this is their opportunity to get as far away from Vegas as possible, with everything that was going on with the Skinwalkers and the Eldest, because for all they know, some of them could still be watching them. But after hearing this, Hulk just walks away in the other direction, and once again we see the Smeagol looking creature following them close by. So with the Hulk and Charlie going their separate ways for a moment here, this leads to a rather interesting set of events. Because on one hand with Charlie, she sees a group of kids playing basketball, and you can tell in this moment that she just misses being a kid. So what she ends up doing is changing her appearance, where in this case the one she has on her is the recent victim we saw not too long ago, who was the blonde girl riding with her boyfriend down the highway. So Charlie takes on her appearance so she can blend in and play ball with these kids for a little bit, which means that she has to shed her own skin and tuck it away somewhere. So she ends up just hiding it in her backpack behind the dumpster, and not even hiding it well, but more or less just setting it all back there. And it isn't long before our friend Smeagol comes across it without Charlie even knowing. And this sets things up to where when we go back over to the Hulk, who like we saw went off in his own direction earlier, but it's here where he's approached by a weird sounding voice who claims to be his friend, and they're happy to see him again. But I gotta tell you, man, the look on Hulk's face here, when he sees this thing wearing Charlie's skin, he's just looking at her like she's been beaten with infinite ugly sticks, like a whole forest of them. And that's where this thing asks Hulk, "Am I not as pretty as before?" As we get a better look and we see that Charlie's skin is at least 2 sizes too big for this thing, but it's out here rocking it anyway. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here, who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.